Have you ever been scrolling on your phone and you see someone post something and something inside of you just shifts? You can't quite name it. It's not exactly sadness. It's not really anger. It's just this like low hum of like, why not me? That's where this episode starts today because that feeling, if you don't catch it, it's not going to stay neutral in you. It moves. And where it moves is what we're talking about today. Hey, y'all, and welcome back to No Longer Allowed with Kristen. Today, we are talking about the comparison trap, and more specifically, the loop it creates when you don't catch it early. From comparison to resentment to victim mindset and how to break it. So, comparison shows up in all kinds of forms. And here's what it actually looks like in daily life. Maybe you're at the kids' baseball practice and you see a mom on the other side of the field. She's got cuter clothes than you and her healthier homemade snacks than what you threw together that afternoon and grabbed out of your pantry. Or maybe it's the SUV you're driving around and you're driving a smaller paid off version of an SUV. And another mom pulls up and she's in her full size, fully loaded SUV. And you think, why can't that be me? Or it's the business. You see someone who looks so polished and put together, and you start measuring yourself against it. And what starts as an observation quietly becomes a measurement of yourself. But here's what you don't know. The mom with the healthy snacks, maybe her child has an allergy and she can't do convenient foods on a whim the way you can. That SUV, she might be paying $1,000 a month just for the aesthetic of it while you have that extra $1,000 in your pocket every month with your paid off car. That polished business, she might be dealing with imposter syndrome so loud it's hard to get out of bed. In all of these scenarios, we are creating our own stories about people when we don't actually know what's going on in their lives. And those stories are costing us. Because here's what happens when comparison doesn't stay neutral. It turns into resentment. Why her and not me? Why does it come easy for her and hard for me? And now you're sitting with this low grade bitterness towards someone whose full story you've never actually seen. The other side you're not seeing is the debt, the struggle, the private hard seasons, the things happening behind the highlight reel that nobody is posting about. But resentment doesn't ask for the full picture. It just builds the case with whatever it has. And that resentment, when it becomes your default lens, it turns into a victim mindset. You stop seeing individual circumstances and start seeing a pattern. And the pattern is always that things are harder for you than anyone else. Things never work out for me. It always comes easier for everyone. And you're going to make it hard because you keep telling yourself that story. You're not comparing anymore. You're collecting evidence that life is working against you. But here's the thing. You built that case from incomplete information, from highlight reels, from assuming you know someone's full story when you've only ever seen the cover. I want to be transparent with y'all, okay? I've lived this, and I'm sure we all have in some sort of form or whatever. We walked out of a really hard season, it was a hard 2-year season, really. And for over a year, we had one car. Nate was building another business, and we didn't have a second income. The kids go to school 50 minutes away. If you listen to any other episode, you know of this story. And I work close by the kids with one car, and I was the one doing it all. I would get in that car and I would cry, then get to work and cry. And I was so deep in feeling victimized by my own circumstances that I couldn't even see what was right in front of me. I had a car. It wasn't 2 cars, but it was a car, and it was comfortable enough for all of us. I couldn't see that. I was too busy being victim to my own circumstances to see that life was actually happening for me and not to me. And yes, I am quoting Tony Robbins, if you know who that is. And here's what I want you to know. If you had seen me during that season out in public, just going about my life, you would have thought I had it together. You would have thought everything was fine and that was just the same old Kristen I've always been. But I wasn't. I was completely different on the inside. And that's exactly the point. You look at your coworkers, your friends, the mom at the baseball game, and you think you know their story. But most people are carrying things you can't see. Even the people closest to you aren't telling you everything that is going on in their life. Why are we comparing what we have and playing victim to it when we don't actually know what's going on in everybody's life? And what came out of that season for me was something I didn't expect. When I started having more awareness and more intention in my own life, I started having a lot more compassion for other people too. Because when you've been through something hard, private, while looking fine on the outside, you start to realize that everyone is probably doing the same thing, carrying more than they're showing, going through things they're not telling anyone. That shift changed how I show up for people. It's part of why I do this work. Because I've sat in the hard season. I've felt the resentment and the victim mindset from the inside, and I've found my way out of it. That's not something you can learn from a book. That is totally from lived experience. So here's the way out of the loop, and it starts with catching it early. When you feel that low hum creeping in, why are they further along than me? Why do they get to go on these vacations? Why is their house a little bit nicer than mine? That's the moment right there. That's where you catch it before it becomes resentment, before it becomes victim mindset. Awareness is everything. When you can be present in your own moment and actually see what's right in front of you, that's where gratitude lives. Not just gratitude for what you can see, but gratitude for what you can't even see yet. The things that are being worked out for you behind the scenes that you don't even have a clue as to what is going on. Life is happening for you, not to you. And when you can shift that lens, everything starts to look different. And for this episode, there's 3 things that I want you to take away. Number 1 is comparison is the beginning of the loop, not the problem itself. The problem is what happens when you don't catch it. Awareness at the comparison stage of it is everything. Number 2, you are building a story from incomplete information. The highlight reel is never the full picture. Before you let comparison turn into the resentment, ask yourself, do I actually know what's going on in her life? And number 3, victim mindset is a choice, even when it doesn't feel like one. I'm going to say it again. Life is happening for you, not to you. And when you can shift that lens, everything starts to look different. Y'all, we're coming up on July. This is the end of June. I cannot believe the summer is just passing us by. But the 10-day shift is almost here. Y'all, we are 3 weeks away from July 13th, and I want you in it. 10 days of intentional daily shifts to get you out of that autopilot and into awareness. Daily audio drops from me. We're going to have journal prompts. We're going to have morning check-ins, step-out sessions, evening reflections, and group coaching inside of a private WhatsApp community. And there is going to be a prize. So one participant is going to win a free 1-hour one-on-one coaching session with me. You can start earning entries now if you join in for the 10-day shift. If you opt in, you can refer a friend, and if you refer that friend and they sign up, that counts as an extra entry, and there will be entries throughout the 10 days that we are together. Bring a friend because that is more accountability for yourself and for your friend. The 10-day shift, completely free. Y'all can just reach out to me on Instagram and let's do it. And if you're ready to go deeper, I do have a spot open for my one-on-one coaching. It's 6 months. It's just you and me. And if that's also, you can DM me on Instagram and we can see if that's going to be a right fit for you, or if you need to go through the 10-day challenge to kind of see where you're at. Thank y'all so much for being here. If this hits home, share it with someone who needs to hear it because that is how we grow. I am Kristen Falgoust. that this is no longer allowed. In the comparison trap, the resentment, the victim mindset loop, that is no longer allowed. I will see y'all in the next episode.